What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Phil Perry is always alongside. It is the aftermath. And it's the aftermath, Phil, of Drake Maye's first extended play as a New England Patriot. There was a lot to like. A lot to like. Were you surprised at the overall performance of Drake Maye?
I wasn't, because we have seen moments of him being polished. And when he's shown those moments, it's in the brief periods of time when he's had some protection. And I thought when he had protection tonight on two throws in particular, so 2 quarters of play, and I'm going to highlight 2 throws, but one was the over the middle, first down to Javon Baker on 3rd and 5, protected in the pocket, goes through his reads, makes an accurate throw over the middle, first down. Later in the game, again, Javon Baker's the target, but he navigates the pocket, clean enough pocket, not completely clean, but he keeps his eyes downfield as he's subtly sliding away from pressure in the pocket, makes an accurate throw deep down the field. Dime. That should have been caught, and it wasn't. We see him make impressive throws when he has time and space to operate. He just hasn't had enough time or enough space to operate consistently enough, Tom, for us to believe that he can do those things consistently. And so that, to me, has been the problem with his summer.
What also serves as a check mark for his performance tonight is under levels of duress. He's got a free rusher coming at him. He has to get the ball out to Mitch Wilcox, a tight end screen, kind of a bailout. You're not going to teach it that way. You're basically just to get it over to him however you can. So legs are going one way, shoulders are going another. The ball comes out on time, on target, an athletic play. Same thing with the throw outside to Hasty. You know, he had to read a linebacker coming at him unblocked, figured it out, didn't throw it off the guy's friggin' hands, got it out to him for a 23-yard gain that helped set up that 5-yard run. So to me, you saw on-time, on-platform throws. You saw off-platform throws. You saw a couple of scrambles. Phil, it was interesting on BST. You were on with Felger and I, and you mentioned that on the first scramble that he had, you would have liked to have seen him hang in there longer, and it sounded like Drake Maye acknowledged that as well when we had him in the postgame. Here is Drake Maye actually from the postgame.
I think, definitely some things I can clean up. Had some good things, had some bad plays. I said the drop snaps, inexcusable for me. And other than that, probably just sometimes I feel like I'm scrambling when I can probably sit in there and hang on and try to make a throw. So definitely a lot of things to learn from. Good to get out there and, like you said, get some tape to learn from.
So it wasn't flawless. We did see a little bit of that, what we've been trying to explain to people about just that smidgen of indecision that we sometimes see before the delivery of the balls, late to Javon Baker, for instance. But overall, I think people are going to come out of this game and say, why didn't he play last week?
I think.
Why aren't we trying to fast track his ass?
To me, it's fair. I get why you would want to start him slow, because what you're asking him to do in operating this offense is so vastly different than what he's used to at North Carolina. But he's smart. I know for a fact that one of the things that they are most impressed by is his ability to get through his reads from 1 to 2 to 3. And I'm sure there have been practices, Tom, and we've acknowledged these, where it feels like, because we know progress is not linear. It's not going to be a straight line up until he's a Hall of Fame player. And so there have been practices where, looks like he's having one of those feet tangled up kind of days. He's having one of those pump fake at the last second, hold on to the football and try to throw across his body kind of days. He's had those, but it's not every day. I think some of the coverage has gone a little too far in his inability to execute the fundamentals of this offense. He is more polished than I think he is given credit for in a lot of corners of the media. And I think you saw some of that tonight. That throw down the field to Baker, that's a polished throw. The one you're describing to Wilcox, that's just being an athlete. And we know he can do some of that stuff. But there's more to him. There's more nuance to him than that. And I wonder if they watch that game, they being the Patriots coaching staff, and say to themselves, maybe he's better than we thought right now. And maybe we should be giving him more reps with the first team offensive line to see how good he can be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5. It doesn't mean you have to fast track him to start week 1 of the regular season, But if they have it in their minds, it might take until week 10. And the reality is it might only take till week 4. Shouldn't you give yourself the best opportunity to find that out? That's what's been confusing. He hasn't gotten enough work with the best line, and they don't have many great offensive linemen to be able to figure out who he is.
That's the biggest nit to pick is the Patriots, whether it's the Patriots or they perceive that Maye has not seized it. The Patriots haven't really given him the opportunity, it seems, to seize it by continually overstating it here, but it's late, making him a second-class citizen, just treating him like the backup. So making, despite Gerard's saying at the beginning of training camp, everything's a competition, but Jacoby's our most pro-ready player. That basically, you're saying one thing, but you really are, the pro-ready Jacoby is our most pro-ready player. That's announcing to the team, we want to try and have a functional offense here with a guy who knows how to running it for all you guys. So don't sweat if you signed here as a free agent, or don't sweat if you're an offensive lineman and you're worried about blocking for a stray cat back there running in and out of traffic. You're going to be fine. Jacoby's back there, okay? But I think that there's a difference between taking your time and coddling, and you don't want to get to that point. Additionally, Phil, I'm babbling on here, but Elliott Wolf and the Green Bay experience of both Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love will probably inform a little bit of the way they approach things, and we've heard that said. Patrick Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith. There is no Brett Favre on this roster. There's no Aaron Rodgers on this roster to Jordan Love. And there's no Alex Smith even on this roster on a playoff caliber Kansas City team that Patrick Mahomes sat for a year and watched. So, I don't know. It's not Sam Darnold out there either. But Zach Wilson went belly up, probably out there too early. Talk to me here. I'm babbling.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Why is Jacoby Brissett getting the Aaron Rodgers treatment or the Brett Favre treatment? To me, his resume is one thing. It certainly doesn't announce himself as being that kind of player to just be gifted a starting job. The second thing to me would be his play on the field has not been immaculate.
But it was good for a while. He's leveled off in the last week.
As you've said, I would agree with that. And I think you
said it first. I'm parroting you.
Listen, we should acknowledge that it is what it is. It can be clean for a week, and it can level off. Javon Baker looked like he was going to be an all-pro the first week of training camp, and he's leveled off, I would say. He still comes up with an impressive play every once in a while, same way Jacoby Brissett is for the most part fine. But there are also going to be things that I think, not only should we acknowledge that Drake Maye does have some polish to his game that he in a vacuum has the ability to exhibit. We should also acknowledge that there are going to be areas right now, today, as you and I sit here and speak to each other over the internet, where Drake Maye is better than Jacoby Brissett. He is better than Jacoby Brissett at getting himself out of trouble physically when under duress. He's better at making off-platform throws. He has a stronger arm. From what we have seen the last few weeks, I would say, with some confidence, he's more accurate down the field. So while Jacoby Brissett is going to be way more advanced when it comes to getting in and out of plays and getting to the right play at the line of scrimmage especially, and understanding how defensive shells are working and which safeties to look at and how certain concepts beat certain coverages, he is going to be miles and miles beyond Drake Maye there. Is it enough to outweigh the other stuff that Drake Maye brings to the table that is at this point superior to Jacoby Brissett? And I acknowledge that's mostly physical, and we know quarterback is the ultimate cerebral position. But I think it makes the race a little bit closer than people are willing to give it credit for. The fact that he can do the things he can, and Brissett has moments where you say, like tonight, like, what was that throw? Why did you put that there? He's not so clean that you just have to give him the job. No questions asked, in my opinion.
Credit should go to Alex Van Pelt, T.C. McCartney, Ben McAdoo, whoever else, who have I think really shepherded Drake Maye from the guy who was at rookie minicamp basically counting his steps like a first-year ballerina. I don't know what the hell, if they even count steps. But the improvement was pretty drastic. And you have to thank the coaching staff and credit them, and you have to thank them for that as well. Here comes the but.
Mm-hmm.
Football coaches are nothing if not stubborn. And they take the outside opinions and conventional wisdom as being the opposite of what they should do. We watched it for the last 2 years with Bill Belichick, dicking around for months with who his offensive play caller is going to be. Just having a friggin' audition throughout the summer, himself included as a play caller. And what happened when the season began? About what you would expect. About what we all in the media said seemed doomed to happen. But, we didn't know what we were talking about because, well, how could we know? We haven't done the job. So the fallout from this game is going to be you got to fast track Drake Maye. The Patriots are going to resist that. We're going to be told we don't know what we don't know. We don't see what they see. And everybody's got to tap the brakes a little bit here with the kid. So the resistance is going to be there. But they have to understand as well that it's an entertainment product. People have watched 34 games of shit quarterbacking going back to the start of 2022. They can't be expected to strap in for one more time around on the world's worst roller coaster, the most boring roller coaster in the world. I'll go again. This roller coaster sucks. Do it again. So there is an element of, what harm can it do? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Fast-tracking Drake Maye.
I agree with you, Tom. They are, I think, going to push back on the fast-track Drake Maye idea.
Narrative.
The narrative. I think their inclination would be to push back on that. However, we have heard Gerard Mayo say a number of times now on the record, it's not about the volume of the reps, it's about the quality of the reps. And when you show us, I'm paraphrasing now, when you show us that you're making the most of those reps and you're providing quality reps, you earn the opportunities that you get. Did Drake Maye not, in the closest thing we can get to a live game situation, put out quality reps that would lead the coaching staff to give him more opportunities, meaning not in terms of volume, he's been getting about as many plays as Jacoby Brissett has in practices, but give him real first team opportunities in practice. Hey, you gave us quality reps in the preseason game. This is what our program's going to be about. You get what you earn. Drake, you earned more reps with the ones. Jacoby, you sort of sucked the other night. We know you're a good player and you're probably still going to be our week one guy, but you lost a few practice reps to Drake on Thursday. You're going to have to earn those back. So Drake, here's 5 snaps with David Andrews. Congratulations. You've come a long way. And I'm not being facetious when I say that, but like, if that's who you're going to be, if that's what your program is about, if it's a meritocracy in that way, don't they have to give him more after tonight?
And that's where the internal tension can happen. Look, Alex Van Pelt comes here with an offense that he wants to install that the Patriots really aren't familiar with, the personnel. So they're going to install it. They're going to strip it down to 0. And in doing so, he brought in his pilot, Jacoby Brissett. And in convincing that pilot to come here, wouldn't you presume that Alex Van Pelt had a forecast of how things would go? When in free agency, they said, Jacoby, look, we don't know who we're going to get. Could be Drake Maye because those two guys are going to go 1-2. But we want you here because we trust you and we believe you're going to be able to starter. We know you can be a starter in this league someplace. Well, if Jacoby Brissett gets beat out in week 2 or 3, and the entire organization is saying you got to move on from this is a place for Alex Van Pelt, who may have to say to Jacoby, I don't know Alex Van Pelt well enough to know if he'll just cut him off at the knees and say, hey, Jacoby, it is what it is. The kid's too friggin' good. I didn't think it was going to happen, but he did. Sorry. He's going to play. That's the internal tension I'm talking about.
Love you, mean it, but ...
Right?
Yeah, I Listen,
because
I don't think it's necessarily up to
there's
him,
no
though.
program in place. That's the thing. There's no program in place here. It might not be up to him, but so if it's Mayo,
Right.
if it's T.C. McCartney, if it's Scott Peters, who's came here from Cleveland with we don't know these guys. We don't know how they're going to operate. We don't know if there's going to be little fiefdoms who are going to want to defend areas of their own expertise. I don't know Alex Van Pelt. Everyone says he's a great guy, but if they say the guy that you brought here to install that offense with, we're going to flip it to the kid Drake, who might not know it as good, but does more things. So put more stuff in for Drake. It's interesting.
It is interesting, but I think, honestly, you remove some of that tension by following through on your standard. And the standard that Mayo is setting is the better players are going to play. And tonight, Drake Maye was better. Like, I don't know how you could argue it any other way. Maybe there are checks at the line that Jacoby Brissett made that I can't see, that the broadcast can't see, that are so advanced and so precise and so well done that an offensive coordinator would say, see, that's why that guy's out there and why the other guy isn't. But again, I thought I saw polish in Drake Maye throwaways today. I like the throwaways.
Yeah.
I think those are good decisions. It's empty. It's spread out. You get a chance to see the field. You're running around a little bit. You're keeping your eyes downfield. Nothing's there. It's first down. Boop. Right off the down marker. Yep. Bullseye. Right off the 1 on the first down marker. That's a great decision. That's a great call. Jacoby Brissett can make that decision too. Can he even get himself? I'm overstating now. He can. But there are going to be situations where Drake Maye gives himself the opportunity to make the throwaway because he's an athlete, where Brissett might not be able to. I'm not saying that happened tonight, but I could see those sorts of situations popping up too. So I think you just have to at least start. We're not saying, I know you're not saying this. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying it either. We're not saying Drake Maye should be the week 1 starter based on what happened tonight. All I'm saying is give him more quality reps in practice. He hasn't gotten enough, in my opinion, to truly show you what he can do. So just get the full assessment. There's nothing more important than understanding what you have in Drake Maye right now.
Push him to the point he pees down his leg. And if he doesn't pee down his leg, then you have your answer. I don't know if they've pushed him to that extent yet. And I think that's what they ought to do. Keep pushing him forward. Talk to me about the rookie wideouts a little bit before we get to the offensive line and a little bit about the defense. I was disappointed that Jalen Polk seemed to pull up on that deep ball down the right sideline when he saw a safety approaching. Business decision. But he redeemed himself. Did you notice
I didn't notice that. And I don't know if they brought that up on the replay. I didn't notice that.
They didn't. But it was kind of there, but maybe out of bounds but then he made a nice catch and made 2 people miss soon thereafter. And I think that was off a Drake Maye throw. Excellent. Good to see. And then Javon Baker, you got to be able to hold your line a little bit better. Easy for me to say, I know. But you got to hold the line a little bit better and not get forced out of bounds because you're an ineligible receiver and you're not going to help anybody else out. And the drop could have done without that. So I guess 1 for 4 on balls he was targeted with by May. But I don't know. He didn't break. Tyquan Thornton breaks.
And
so,
at least he is, he did on that one drop, he created enough in the way of separation to potentially make an explosive play.
Correct.
So there's a positive
thoughts
there.
on Polk. Anybody else? The other thing I wanted to ask about before we get to offensive line protection, running game. I heard you on the radio call. I had to scoot out real quick, and you made some really good observations, I thought, including on Ramondre Stevenson. If he's going to run like that, as he did on the first possession, and for much of the first quarter, then he can be a low-budget Chubb. Nick Chubb, that is. Or Bradley Chubb? Nick.
Yeah, Bradley's the pass rusher. I mean, if he could give him some value on the defensive side too, they just lost a pass rusher, so I'm sure they would take that. I think he is, when he's right, Tom, he is the running game. I know Owenu is a capable run blocker for sure. Same with City So. I think that's his strength. But man, how many? I know he only ran it 6 times for 18 yards, and that looks like a horrible average. But it probably should have been 6 for 9. He's 6 for 7.
Yards after contact were crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not an incredible number, but going from a -2 to a +2 is a big deal, or a +3 is a big deal in terms of just trying to, in some way, shape, or form, keep yourselves on schedule. I know it's going to be an offense that plays off schedule a lot, but if they want to rely on the run as much as they say they do, and they get Stevenson running through people the way he ran through people tonight, that is a good sign. On the rookie receivers, I just would like to see a little more. I don't want to use the word grit, but when, like the play you mentioned with Baker, just getting ridden out of bounds like he's a gunner on the punt team. I know Keely Ringo, who is the corner who is giving these guys a hard time, is a big, strong man, and he's a really good athlete. He's out of Georgia. He was really impressive. I know people thought that there was a chance well before the combine, didn't have the best combine, if I recall correctly, but that he had an opportunity to potentially be a first-round pick. But you kind of got bullied. That's how it looked. He kind of got bullied. Like, you got to be able to fight through some, even Polk down the field. I thought there was contact late, and maybe it should have been a penalty. I don't think it was enough to draw a flag, but about 15 yards, you're still trying to get this guy off you. Like, you got to, that's part of playing receiver at this level. And so maybe that's something that they can refine a little bit more before they get to the regular season. Cause I think both those guys should have real roles. Like, I like KJ Osborne. I don't know if KJ Osborne should be keeping those guys off the field very much.
No. Well, I wonder if it's going to be a lot of the seniors get to play first. We'll get the sophomores in later. Seniors get to start the season.
Hey, listen, everything's geared toward the future, right? If anything, the Judon trade should be a reminder of that, right? Like, it's not about this year. So if everybody's getting the slow development plan, then maybe you're right, even at receiver, never mind quarterback.
What stood out to you on the defense? Again, you can only play with against what's in front of you. It wasn't the top line Philadelphia Eagles offense, but they kind of steamrolled them a little bit.
Yeah.
The Patriots.
Yeah, they
defense.
did. I thought Keion White was a force. Whether it was off the edge, I saw him use speed to just go right around a tackle at one point. Power is his game. Saw him bull rush from the edge with some success. Saw him bull rush from 3 technique. So he's playing over the outside shoulder of the guard. Create some disruption in the backfield for Philadelphia there, right down deep in their own territory, down near their goal line. So, boy, I thought you saw some interesting things in terms of how life will go without Judon, right? So you see the flashes from Keion White. I saw a stunt at one point with Anthony Jennings in a passing situation, who's not really a passing game player. He's more of a run stuffer on the edge, looping inside on a pass rush. We saw DeMarcus Covington bring a blitz on a 3rd down that generated pressure, helped create a really short throw. I don't know if it was an incompletion or just a short gain on 3rd down that didn't get close to the first. So this is how they're going to try to game it up without the guy that was thought to be their one-on-one winner in passing game situations. It's going to be a lot of blitzing, a lot of stunts at the line.
Can Keion White unlock Josh Uche with the attention that Keion White is going to end up demanding if he keeps playing like this? I put them next to each other, you know?
Yeah, I like where your head's at. Yeah, maybe use Keion White as sort of an interior rusher and then say, okay, Josh, you get the tackle one-on-one. Do that thing where you get really small and create a very small surface area and bend and dip and rip and get around the edge. I like that. That's a good thought. And maybe there's the ability for them to do that. What did you think of Uche playing late into the game? Did you think that had anything to do with him getting into that dust up with the Eagles and Mayo saying, hey, if you fight and you're like a regular, you're going to play the whole game? Because he damn near played the whole game, it looked like. Or is he just such a niche player that he doesn't warrant snaps until late in the game now?
Could be either, could be both. What's hard about his game is once he's on the ground, it's over. And I saw him kind of get squished like a bug on one rush. He was trying to get low, and the guy just went, here, you want low? Here. Now you're completely low. You're on the ground. You're out of the play. He's obviously got more off-the-ball speed than anybody else that they have on the defensive line. It's just going to be hard. I'd love to see a way for them to figure out how to unlock him. But you know who's still pretty friggin' good? Dietrich Wise. Continues to be a good football player and a pain in the ass. And Jeremiah Farms. So there's a lot of people up there. Tavai was downfield, I think, on a pass coverage. I don't know if it was a breakup tonight.
He was. Yeah, no, that was a nice job. He didn't get his hands on it, but he ran right with Kenneth Gainwell right down the field.
Yeah. And they got an army of good defenders, and a lot of them didn't play. I'm not going to get on the Christian Gonzalez's not good train that I kind of like. Apparently, I pulled it out of the station last week by saying he gets beat in practice and gives up more balls than you'd expect a shutdown corner to give up. I think it's morphed into, should we be panicked about Christian Gonzalez? He's still going to be one of the top corners in the league, top 15 corners, in my estimation, with the expectation that he develops into a Pro Bowl level corner, just based on what? Based on what I saw last summer, based on what I saw in the first 4 games, based simply on the way the guy moves. So he's going to be a good player.
I think
overall,
so too.
You have any?
No, I think so too. I think he's going to be okay. I thought he had a good joint practice. I was focused mostly on the offense, but when I was glancing over the defensive side of things, whether it was the one-on-ones or the team stuff, I thought he was fine. So until he proves us otherwise in a regular season game situation, I'm choosing not to panic. Like, what are you going to do anyway? Are you just going to not play him? Like, that's what I don't really understand. You're going to go out and get a corner now because you don't love Christian Gonzalez as a cornerback. Like, you're going to go find one. I don't know. I just
Marco Wilson and Azizi Hearn.
I come back to what you say sometimes when people panic. And I know we're fresh off TV with our friend Mike Felger, and he was, what's up with Christian Gonzalez? What's going on there? What you like to say sometimes is, or what? Meaning, like, okay, did he have a bad? I don't know. Like, Christian Gonzalez, he's got to be able to play, or what? Like, there's nothing you can do now. We think he's good. He hasn't played in a truly competitive live game situation yet in almost a full calendar year. So let's all just wait and see what it looks like. I mean, we're trying to give an accurate assessment of what it looks like right now. It has not been a disaster. I'll say that. But he also hasn't looked like Darrelle Revis. I mean, remember Revis in 2014? It was like, this guy moves different. This guy is a badass. He didn't lose a rep, it felt like. It hasn't been that. So.
Giardi hated him. Giardi used to sit there. I don't think he's that good. Meanwhile, last topic. I think the Patriots want Joey Sly to win the kicking job.
Is it just me, or does it feel like he's getting all these in-game reps? What's that about? I
think they want him to win the job. You know why? You know what I think it's about? They had to watch Chad Ryland last year, and he wasn't that good. So if you move on from Joey Sly because it's a draw with Chad Ryland, and then Chad Ryland gets into the season and starts kicking like Nuke Lelouch again, tough word for me, Lelouch, then you're going to say, we knew this is what he does. When the pressure gets on, the lights come on, he doesn't kick as well as he could. Let's see if somebody can beat him straight out. I think they might want Joey Sly to win the job. Because if you start the season, you cut Joey Sly because Chad Ryland was a 4th-round pick and he won on points. And then Chad Ryland starts hitting it off the side of the friggin' stadium, I don't know, whatever, red level seats. Then you're going to be like, we knew this. We knew this would happen.
I think it's a fair point by you. And tonight he got both field goal attempts. Chad Ryland got the extra point attempt. It's becoming a closer competition through the first few days of practice where they would go kick for kick at the end. Ryland had a lead, but it wasn't a commanding lead. It feels like, not that Ryland's missed recently, but it's just the volume is growing and Sly isn't falling on his face. And so it feels like it's pretty close. And I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just you almost need a fresh start. One guy's got more experience in the league than the other, and you have seen him make some, kicks in the NFL. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Tom. You do have a good idea every once in a while.
Bears watching. All right. Bears watching. We'll be watching practice on Saturday and Sunday. Phil and I have to divvy those up because I got the senior club championship, and I anticipate going real high because I had a good round last weekend, which inevitably means I'm going to play like ass. We'll keep you up to date on how that goes for me. But Phil, great job as always. Great job on the call. I didn't hear much of it, but you're very polished.
That's okay.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thank you for saying that. It was a lot of fun. And now back to normal moving forward.
All right, let's call it a night. Good night.
Good night.